All right. This is the third match of Ribbit 4, winner's bracket, playing combo frogs, my own deck. I invented it. I'm a genius. Here I have some great commentators, and we're going to go right into this one. So I still know what my opponents are. We have scouting. One of our teammates played this guy, but I don't remember who. Playing Frog Monarchs. So playing as Frog Monarchs. And I'm like, okay, this guy might have Battle Faders.
Yeah, it's always scary.
But
Quick
at the end
draw
of the day,
and frogs are like the ones, and like fish are the ones that you really have to worry about battle faders with, I think.
yeah. But luckily, those are all like no back row decks, so
Right.
I think it's a fair trade.
It's a trade off.
So this hand is good. It's like sturdy. So I knew it was on Frog Monarchs, and in my mind I was like, okay, I should do nothing. I should just summon the Swap Frog and get a Treeborn and do nothing, because he only has plays if he's cleaning me out. But I wasn't like guaranteed to combo next turn. If I had a Pot of Avarice or something, I might have felt more comfortable doing that. But next turn it would have been like more grindy stuff. So I was like, okay, well maybe he has a slow hand without a sub, and I can just get a flip flop frog. So in my mind, I was like, I'm gonna make a soft dupe block to put pressure, and get a flip flop frog in case he has a slow hand. Because if I get a flip flop frog, he's out of the game, or out of it. He loses a turn, and then I'm feeling comfy, especially with these redundant substitutes. So basically, I'm hoping he can't special summon a swap frog and summon a monarch, and that's exactly what he has. That's kind of annoying, but it is super negative. So I think me putting the pressure actually kind of worked out okay. Oh yeah, so this is a lesson I still haven't learned, and who knows if I ever will. Not to leave a substitute out against frog decks.
Yeah.
This happens to me a lot. Maybe if I had more testing experience, I would know this, but I'm just more focused on what I'm going to do next turn. I knew a hard dupe block wasn't really going to do anything, but I also knew I had a backup substitute. This could have literally just been like a swap frog bounce to the hand or something. Like, I didn't have to commit so hard, and I'm sure Rognak is like going to see this and say something along those lines. But it's only the traditional decks that run like an insane amount of this stuff. Like maybe Diva Hero will run one or two of these, but otherwise it's just Soul Exchange. So it's kind of unlucky that I played right into exact. Basically, he had the perfect out for what I had because he had this super tempo play, and yeah. So I had to make a play, and if this was Caius, it probably wouldn't have hurt as bad because I'll just see what my next card is. I don't need hard dupe against this deck. But he was legit gonna let me flip flop his Ryza back to hand with this
Yeah, I'll
Dreamlord.
take that.
I was
I'll
like,
take that.
So when I said think, I knew I wasn't gonna do that, but I was just taking time to read the card. I was like, do I have to do this? So yeah, we're not feeling too hot. So this is actually, I was like, okay, this plays around a second Monarch. He's gonna, if he has a Caius or a Ryza, he's gonna hit my Treeborn, but then he'll have to attack over this Poison Draw Frog. I was not expecting a lad.
That's so funny.
Which, if I was, then I would have kept this in the grave. But I'm just blocking
Yeah.
for damage at this point.
Well, the nice thing about this is at least you can make the lad useless with the Treeborn next turn.
Yeah, so it just has to die, and I feel like this is another misplay. If I summon the Substode, and it activates effect to kill Treeborn, Substode's still there. It just negates the effect.
Right.
Yeah, well, it was probably wise I didn't do that, but this draw, feeling pretty good about this. Because I know, hey, this is buying me infinite turns. If he doesn't summon other monsters, if he summons a Caius, it doesn't get banished, or he has to kill his own lad, and I'm feeling okay. Yeah. But he ends up drawing a little bit of threat. It's definitely this game I mess up. Okay. We're going to see my huge mistake. So I bring back Treeborn. Murray, who cares? Anything else? Give me that sub. Even that's kind of a misplay because I could have substowed first to thin my deck to make my draws stronger, so that's a misplay. I was more focused on, okay, thank God I can do something because this Treeborn was in the grave. But yeah, so I had to slam this Exodius. Okay. What did I do wrong? I attack with this Exodius to send something.
Mm-hmm.
I was contemplating sending a Fishboard because Fishboard would have been good, but I that would have just made another stable board, and stable board's not going to do anything. So, unless I draw the entire thing, which I'm so hurt on card advantage. So I was like, okay, I'll probably draw a Fishboard Blaster. So this is correct, but This guy has 1900 attack.
Right, so you could have gone Colossal Armory, and that guy's negated.
This guy has 800 attack. Well, no. So I may have been able to do that. Especially
you
if
attacked the wrong one.
right. So I took unnecessary damage. So that's a small misplay. We're not beating ourselves up too much. But with the standing line, I get a bunch of advantage. I'm like, okay. I trade this Exodius for one extra card. I got one more token. Main phase 2, I go Substitute. I'm like, okay. Let's thin our deck. Get these swaps out of here. Clean out our Substodes. And this Moray of Greed, this is going to be a perfect Moray of Greed because mathematically it can't fail. So let's watch it. And I'm pretty sure it doesn't fail. I'm not setting something up. This doesn't fail. Look at that. Beautiful. That's the Fishborg Blaster I wanted. I got to pitch it to draw a card. This is a slightly weaker draw. And then I'm like, okay, I'm good. I drew the Fishborg. I win. So when I say think, I'm like, how many cards do I need to Colossal Fighter arm into a Neos Alias? I'm checking his graveyard over and over again. No warriors. Only one. I need 5 cards. And I start doing it. I'm like, sweet. Pot of Avarice. I'm going to send back a bunch of frogs. Wrong. I already used my battle phase.
Right.
So I put back a bunch of garbage frogs instead of more poison draw loop. So that's like a horrible mistake. So it was just a +1 Pot of Avarice, but thank God I got bailed out with another one. So that was so close. I felt so dumb. I was like, and I attacked the wrong one. So I realized 1-2 punch. I made like a terrible mistake back to back. This is still game 1, right? Yeah. But we get bailed out with that second Pot of Avarice. So and only bailed it to an extent.
Yeah.
What happened?
Now, luckily enough, you didn't put yourself to 1,000 or lower, else it would have been lethal.
Right, and that is something I was thinking about. When my turn ended, I was like, I cannot believe I did that. And I realized how I'd taken extra damage and stuff. All this stuff. And I remember this guy was small. At least this board can't run over this Dupe Frog.
Right.
I think I still lose this game. But yeah, so I ran out of gas because of my Pot of Avarice misplay. So I'm sitting here saying I got bailed out. I did not. I had another hope for my terrible mistake, but like if you miss Pot of Avarice that bad, it's just like getting it's basically I got my Pot of Avarice crowed. That's kind of how bad it was.
Which should just be Caius over Dupe. Caius
he had it.
Dupe,
Yep.
yeah.
So I lose. I should have won. How dumb is that? So don't do that in tournament. And this is so annoying, man. Like having this crazy slow hand. Like thank God he didn't have an aggressive Caius. Like if I'm watching this now, I'm thinking, holy cow, I'm gonna lose. Like, and I was so lucky that he didn't just assume this was a Fishborg or something. I'm so lucky this was a Dupe Frog, because that just buys me a full turn. Preferably it dies, I get a swap and combo, but he had Regeki break, so it's not the end of the world. But yeah, we are not feeling good because double Pot of Avarice and no setup. And I know like one of these has to get Caius. It's the same situation as the first game. Like I know like one of these isn't resolving, but maybe one of them does. And luckily, it played around Ryza. So that would have been real annoying. Luckily, I summoned that to play around Ryza. And thank God for Moray of Greed. People have said in the past this is one of the worst cards in, like, I don't know, one of the worst draw cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I just don't see it. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever heard that. In this deck, it's ridiculous.
I've heard. I think R.B.E.T has said it, because it's like, I think he said, like, people just see draw 3 and, like, you know, don't realize
lose their minds.
Yeah, but you and Rognak will both like swear by it, so I trust you guys. I mean, it's basically like an upstart a lot of the time, and if you run anything that you'd like to put back, it can be pretty good.
Right. At worst,
especially
it's an upstart,
with salvage.
usually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, salvage is a Pot of Avarice, a better Pot of Avarice almost.
Right.
So here I'm really lucky I got the setup, because we have a salvage here. It really sucks that this Fishborg got Caius'd, but we have a Foolish we have to. It just sucks having to minus with this when this could be a plus. Like, this could have just been make a substitute live and then get like a huge dig and then get a huge card advantage and just win for sure. But we got a substitute, so we were playing in such a way that we needed the substitute again. And this looks super lucky, but just remember how terribly unlucky my hand was up until this point, you know. It's like, oh, how lucky is it to top deck Brain Control after 3 turns, you know?
Right.
Pretty lucky, but not crazy lucky. So thank God I had the Foolish. And I have to go minus, but having the Pot of Avarice to back it up is nice. And he immediately pros this, which really sucks.
Interesting.
And that was the right time to crow, for sure. I had the Pot of Avarice. If you hit the Avarice after that, okay.
Yeah.
This is basically a new lesson. For people watching this, if you're going to crow me, I think Pot of Avarice is still the better target. But hitting the Fishborg is better for sure if I have to Foolish for it. But if I Foolish for it and I discard a Dandy, there's no right crow. There's no crow. But yeah, so I had to pass turn. But I'm smart. I have heads up play, so I'm like, okay, let me stall up this board as much as I can, bring out my Substitoad, and next turn for sure, we're bringing this Treeborn out one way or another. So I aggressively spend all my cards just because next turn I want to do Substitoad Pot of Avarice. Boom. Oh, I was so proud of this. I was like, okay, he didn't do anything with this back row, but I also didn't do anything because he crowed. So this back row is a Phoenix Wing or a Regeki Break. And I was really hoping it was a Phoenix Wing because I set Pot of Avarice.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm setting this Pot of Avarice and we're turning off Treeborn. But I know for a fact I need to clear that back row. And thank God it wasn't an enemy controller, right? Like that would have sucked.
Typically, it is Phoenix Wing more than Raigeki Break, because normally you'll play 3 Phoenix Wing before even 1 Raigeki Break.
Typically, yeah. In Frogs, I would say Regeki Break is just playing better. But if you're on the Rise of stuff, then Phoenix Wing has a lot of merit for locking out for sure. Okay, so this was kind of funny. I flip-flopped wrong. I know I fast-forwarded past all that. But he attacked, and I in my brain, I was like, okay, use flip-flop on the Swap Frog. Because then he can't use it to bounce his other stuff, and you're good. And then I just bounced the other one just to stall for damage. And maybe that was correct, because I don't know if he can Caius or anything later, but you know, he gets to use a swap, and then he was going to bring back his Caius, and then he changed his mind, and he brought back the Swap Frog, which is really interesting. It's because he already had another Caius.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew his hand. I knew this was Stratos, and I knew this was Swap Frog, because I bounced those two. And he just happened to have another Caius, which is crazy. But I also set my turn up to combo for sure, so we're going to get there. Unifrog sucks in this matchup.
This is a really crazy game.
Yeah, it really is.
I think I was watching this and I was like really worried.
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy.
So, I don't know. I poke for damage here. I'm not even sure it's correct. I'm sure there's some OTK I don't understand. But when I have this few cards, I'm not going to do anything crazy. Let's see if he has a Fader or a Gores or something, and then we'll figure out where we're going from there.
Yeah.
So I just take his dude and poke. I know I'm going to use Upstarts later to heal him back up. But we're doing it. And that was just nice getting that advantage. So this is my body. I only sided this in because of Regeki Break.
Right.
I was like, well, Truenade's not doing anything. And I saw in one of our scouting notes that somebody said he had Torrential Trunade in his side. I was like, well, he's definitely bringing that in. And here we're doing Spirit draws. +1's super nice. Murray of Greed, and that's why I pitched the my body, because I was like, you know what, I still have 2 or 3 Murrays in there, and then this Dandelion. I think this is another game I have 2 Dandelions, and it's just so nice, especially playing around Crow and stuff, like, because you just need pluses. If you can get one early,
Dandy
it's just
feels
crazy.
Nice.
Yeah, it's so good. I like that.
the addition.
I miss Thunder Dragon. Don't get me wrong. Like Thunder Dragon was amazing, but like just losing because you draw 2 of them is the worst feeling ever.
Yeah. I think you drew 2 a lot in one of the recent tournaments, right?
Yeah.
You kept drawing 2 Thunder Dragons.
Yeah, I have a lot of
feels
tournament.
bad.
I have a lot of tournament experience drawing 2 Thunder Dragons, which it's still like a what, like a 16% chance or something. It's not that low or that high. So here I feel really bad because I do not like making Stardust against Monarchs, but I have Iron Wall, so I don't care.
I hate making every single synchro against Monarchs because all of them lose to a Monarch.
Yeah, and see, I learned my lesson. I got rid of the Substode. I made hard dupe block because it just doesn't matter. All we care about is we have Stardust and Iron Wall here. I have a follow-up Substode, so I can kill my stuff to make a big synchro if I need to or something. So this was dumb flipping this up, right? That's a misplay. What's he gonna do? You know, you could Crow before I do it, and what? I beat him down with the Stardust?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm trying to think, maybe the only thing would be like Allure. That this would, if you flip it up early, it stops them from using Allure.
which they don't have. So
Right. They
well,
typically
it's
wouldn't play
crow protection, kind of, or forces them.
Well, you can chain it to crow.
Yeah, but they would have to top deck it. Oh,
Right.
right. You're right. Yeah, if they drew it. Yeah, it was just dumb. Because I thought they might have a Caius, and if I had known for a fact they'd have a Caius, then I for sure would have left it face down. So that's just like misplay. What, number 7 or 8? I did.
Because you let them like burn the Caius.
Right. You let them summon it, commit their normal summon to something that doesn't run over your board. Oh yeah, we get rid of that Stardust right away. Look at that. What are we even doing here, man? Yeah. That's so funny. Oh yeah, he does the math. Right.
Right.
Yeah,
cool. I think it's fun when you play against frog players, and they just I feel like in general the frog
they
players just
it.
believe you.
Yeah.
Because they know how crazy swap and substitute are on their own.
Bro. I lost game 1.
I trust it. Oh man.
And then I threw game 1, and I got dust sheeted first turn. And look at this, man. So I still have 1 for 1, so we're still feeling okay. But I was gonna do 1 for 1 for a Fishborg and turn all these bad cards into real cards. So that's annoying. Now we have to dig for it, which could cost a lot of card advantage. Oh yeah, I choose not to. I'm like, if he's summoning a dupe frog, he doesn't have anything real. His follow play is not anything good. So I just summon my own dupe frog and suicide. I don't even care what I search for.
Amazing.
Oh yeah, I get a Death Frog. And I'm like, well, this might be a grind game. I might need to make a Goyo or a Brio. So let me just get this Death Frog in case that's what I have to do. But yeah, his follow-up was what I could have predicted, which is the Substitute to go with it. And this is the highlight of the entire tournament. And Snack, you've already seen this. Stealth, I don't think you have. Alright, so yeah, we're doing the regular stuff. We want to get some card advantage with this Pot of Avarice. So this is a pretty easy crow, because it's the first Avarice you see, and you can see I'm aggressively doing it. But also, like, we're not screwed if you crow here. It's not that bad. I mean, it sucks, but it's not that bad. But we're getting more card advantage, so we're fine. And we have the Fishborg in there now, right? Oh, no, we don't. We're doing some wacky stuff here, I think. Yeah, I use my normal summon. So there I salvaged wrong. I was like, man, I should have got a Swap Frog. But I was like, well, I haven't normal summoned yet, so I just normal summon Substitute and put it back in the grave. And then, yeah, we got the Borg, so we're good.
Oh, I know it's coming.
Oh, you didn't remember? That's funny.
I was trying racking my brain like, what is the crazy? But I remember now.
So this is so Foolish would have been so bad before, but now it's so good. What were you gonna say? Oh,
well,
yeah.
like
we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Like in your explanation, you talked about how Battle Fader is scary, and you can see it in their hand. Battle Fader.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
It's like, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, they had Battle Fader and Trag.
Right. So unlike the Gotham Loop, which rips their entire hand before you even attack, this one, the Battle Fader can cause some trouble after you Mistborn bounce everything, and then try and hit with like all your huge attackers.
Yeah, and then when I do that, you get a Fader that's really hard for me to clear out, and you definitely have a Treeborn to follow up. And Rise is like the only thing that can interact with my board. So like, you actually put me back an entire turn if you Rise my Iron Wall, because I have to set it, and I don't have any protection.
So this could have been insane if you committed and ran into a Fader.
Yeah, but we drew the brain control that I always side in, because I never know what I'm going to see. And we spin his Dupe Frog into the grave.
Oh my god.
So now he has a lonely 100 attack Substitute, and I have so much card advantage. So when I do Think for a sec, it's right before this Pot of Avarice, and I'm putting back Death Frog, Beazle, Bealza Frog, Dandy, Poison, and Swap. So we're setting up for Synchros, and all we need to do is not draw. I think we would have been okay drawing one of them, but if we had drawn both, it would have kind of sucked. So not drawing the Bealza Frog is big. So we get it. Armory Arm. Put that on your dude. Let's see if we can get 3. Well, while this Death Frog's already in here, might as well go ahead and get this Colossal out. And I know I'm spending all my Exodius to do this, but I also know there's nothing in the game that counters this. So, well, I guess Hanawata.
Yeah.
So if this guy has Hanawata in his hand, then this is an overcommit.
I remember watching like your original video. You talked about having the 3 Armory Arm in case you run up against like a 0. Like you said,
right.
You could win through a 0 attack monster, and I'm like,
right.
And like
It
in my head, I was
happened.
like, "That's so cool," but that's never gonna come up, right?
And then it did. This is why you know things, right? This is so funny.
Right.
Holy cow. So, yeah, how many cards does this cost? This costs 3. This costs 2 each. So 2, 4, 6. I just said the number 9. So this is 9 cards total to Colossal Fighter Army Arm into a Substitute. I say that's a bargain,
That's so amazing.
and that's what won
Playing
me
through
that match.
every 2 of the hand traps.
Yeah, he had them. Too cool. And yeah, I played into that. Like I was like, okay, well let's take it slow, even though I could have comboed off. I read that his hand was slow, and I suicide my dupe, even though I didn't need the search. I didn't need the card I searched for. I already had a swap. So it was just, yeah, it just worked out real well. I was really proud
That
of
was
that one.
amazing.
Yeah. Not too many amazing moments up to this point, but that one was for sure really cool. All right, so that is, unfortunately, the end of my winner's bracket run. We're going to see my next match, and you'll see how it goes down.